Hi, I'm Ronan. Not that anyone asked anymore. 3 months in physical therapy will make you practically invisible, especially when your own wife stops visiting after week 2. Hey, buddy, how are those legs feeling today? Marcus, my physical therapist, adjusted the resistance band around my ankle. Like they belong to someone else, I muttered, gritting my teeth through another set. Has Melissa called? Marcus's smile faltered. Not today, man, but hey, Dr. Winters says you're making incredible progress considering the accident. Yeah, incredible. I glanced at my phone. No messages. She's probably just busy with work. Probably, Marcus agreed too quickly. Later that evening, my best friend Jake showed up with takeout Chinese. He hesitated in the doorway of my hospital room. What? Do I look that bad? I attempted a smile. No, man, you look better. Jake set the food down, avoiding my eyes. How's, things with Melissa? Fine, I guess. Busy at the firm? I pushed my rice around. Haven't seen her in a few days. Been calling, but you know how reception is in this place? Jake's face tightened. Ronan, there's something you should know. What? The plastic fork snapped in my hand. I saw Melissa yesterday at Carlucci's. Jake looked down. She wasn't alone. Work dinner. The partners do it all the time. It wasn't work, Ro. She was with David Kent. Her boss? So what? They were intimate, holding hands across the table, kissing. The room tilted sideways. You're mistaken. I wish I was. And there's more. Jake pulled out his phone. Tracy from your office called me. Melissa cleaned out your joint accounts 3 days ago. My throat closed up. That's not possible. Tracy says she's been boxing up stuff from your office too, telling everyone you agreed to a trial separation during your recovery. We never... A light knock interrupted us. Sarah, my sister, stood in the doorway, her face tear-streaked. Oh, Ro, you know. Know what exactly? My voice sounded distant, even to me. Sarah sat on the bed edge. I just came from your house. Melissa's moving out. There's a moving truck and everything. When I asked what was happening, she said, Said what? That the accident made her reevaluate her priorities. That she couldn't be tied to someone who might never fully recover. She's leaving, Ro, with David. Jake put his hand on my shoulder. She's taking everything, man. The house, the cars, even your dog. Tracy says she convinced the partners to put your clients on hold indefinitely. The prenup, I started. She's using your medical condition to contest it, Sarah said softly. Her father's law firm is handling it. While I'm stuck in this bed? She's doing this while I can't even walk? The betrayal crashed over me in waves. 10 years together, and she couldn't even tell me to my face. I'm so sorry, Sarah whispered. No, I said, my voice hardening. Don't be sorry. This isn't over. Jake exchanged glances with Sarah. What are you going to do? I looked out the window at the setting sun. Get better, get stronger, and then make sure she regrets the day she ever decided to leave me for dead. Pass me that file, would you? I asked Tanya, my paralegal, as I adjusted my cane against the desk. 6 years after the accident, I'd rebuilt my life from scratch, new law practice, new condo, new perspective. The Henderson case? Tanya handed me the folder. By the way, Daniel called. The investment portfolio you started after the divorce just hit 7 figures. I allowed myself a small smile. Not bad for a guy who was flat broke and learning to walk again. Not bad at all, said a voice from the doorway. Jake, now my business partner, leaned against the frame, especially considering where you started. Did you get the information I asked for? I closed the Henderson file. Jake shut the door. You sure you want to keep digging into this, Ro? It's been years. I'm sure. All right. He sat down. David Kent's company filed for bankruptcy last month. Their assets were mismanaged to hell. And guess who was the financial director? Melissa, I said flatly. Bingo. Word is they've been struggling for years. David's drinking got worse, and your ex has been trying to keep the ship afloat. Any legal trouble? Not yet, but my contact at the SEC says they're looking into some questionable transactions. Could be serious. The intercom buzzed. Mr. Sullivan, there's a Caroline Kent here to see you. I raised my eyebrows at Jake. David's sister? Must be. Want me to stay? No, I've got this. Caroline stormed in moments later, all designer clothes and barely contained fury. You've been investigating my brother's company. Good afternoon to you too, Miss Kent. Don't play games with me. I know you're behind the SEC inquiry. I leaned back. That's quite an accusation. It's obvious. The perfect revenge against Melissa and David. I assure you, the SEC makes their own decisions. Caroline slammed her hands on my desk. You've been waiting for this, haven't you? Watching from the shadows like some predator? Careful, Jake warned from the doorway he hadn't actually left. You've never gotten over her, Caroline hissed. This pathetic vendetta. Miss Kent, I interrupted calmly. Your brother and my ex-wife left me hospitalized, penniless and alone. They contested a legal prenuptial agreement while I was learning to walk again. If they're now facing consequences for their own financial misdeeds, that's hardly my concern. You heartless, you should leave now. After Caroline stormed out, Jake whistled low. She seemed nice. Later that evening, I met with Diana, my investigator, at a quiet bar downtown. Got what you asked for, Diana slid a folder across the table. Bank records, emails, phone logs, they're desperate, Ronan. David's gambling debts are astronomical and Melissa's been moving company funds around to cover them. Any evidence she knew it was illegal? Diana tapped an email printout. She's been researching the penalties for financial fraud for months. She knows exactly what she's doing. I stared at the evidence. She always was smart, just not smart enough. What's your plan? Diana asked. Nothing illegal, I assured her. Just making sure certain information reaches the right people. The SEC. Among others, I said, thinking of the clients she'd stolen, the colleagues she'd lied to. It's time for the truth to come out. Ro, Jake said, joining us. I just got a call from my buddy at Melissa's firm. She's been asking around for your contact information. After 10 years of silence, why now? Apparently, Jake said grimly, she needs a good lawyer. The knock on my door came at 9:17 p.m. I knew exactly who it would be. Hello, Melissa, I said calmly, leaning on my cane as I opened the door. She looked older, thinner, her designer clothes not quite as pristine as I remembered. Ronan, you look, well? What do you want? Can I come in? Please? I stepped aside, watching as she entered my condo, her eyes widening at the view of the city. You've done well for yourself, she said, running her finger along my bookshelf. No thanks to you. Melissa flinched. I deserve that. You deserve a lot more. Why are you here? She turned, tears welling in her eyes. I need help, Ro. Legal help. You've got a father with a law firm, a husband who, ex-husband, she corrected quickly. We divorced last year. Not my problem. The SEC is investigating David's company. They're looking at me too for financial improprieties. Again, not my problem. Ronan, please. She stepped closer. I know I hurt you. Hurt me? I laughed bitterly. You left me paralyzed in a hospital bed. You stole my money, my home, my career. You told our friends I was mentally unstable from the accident. I was scared. The doctors said you might never walk again. So naturally, the appropriate response was to empty our bank accounts and sleep with your boss. I made a terrible mistake, she whispered, reaching for my hand. I've regretted it every day. I pulled away. Funny how your regret surfaces right when you need a lawyer. It's not like that. I've thought about you over the years, wondered how you were. Not enough to call, not enough to apologize, not until you needed something. Please, Ro, they're saying I could go to prison. Sounds like you should have made better choices. Her expression hardened. I know you've been watching us, waiting for us to fail, paranoid as ever. The SEC investigation started right after you met with Commissioner Reynolds, your old golf buddy. I shrugged. Coincidence. Jake's been asking questions about our finances for months. Jake's a curious guy. Damn it, Ronan, she slammed her hand on the counter. I know you're behind this. You have no idea what I'm behind or not behind. But let me be clear, I will not help you. After everything we shared, 10 years of marriage, which you threw away when it became inconvenient. I was wrong, she cried. I'm admitting that. What more do you want? Nothing. From you. Absolutely nothing. You're enjoying this, aren't you, seeing me suffer? I'm indifferent to your suffering, Melissa. That's much worse. Her face twisted. You've changed. Yes, you made sure of that. If you don't help me, I'll lose everything. I know exactly how that feels. Melissa's expression darkened. You think you're so perfect? I'll tell everyone how you've orchestrated this whole thing, how you've abused your connections for revenge. Go ahead. Who do you think they'll believe? The respected attorney who rebuilt his life after tragedy? Or the woman who abandoned her husband after his car accident and is now accused of financial fraud? You son of a... She lunged forward suddenly, grabbing a heavy art piece from my coffee table and swinging it at my head. I blocked it with my arm, wincing at the impact. Bad move. My security system had been silently recording our entire conversation and the assault. "Get out," I said quietly, "before I call the police." "This isn't over," she hissed, grabbing her purse. "You think you've won? I'll destroy you all over again." That sounds remarkably like a threat. I tapped my phone, which I now have on video, along with your assault attempt. Her face went pale. "You were recording me?" "I record everyone who enters my home, for security purposes. You set me up." "No, Melissa, you set yourself up. 10 years ago and again tonight." All rise. Court is now in session, the Honorable Judge Michaels presiding. I sat in the back of the courtroom watching as Melissa and her attorney stood before the judge. The restraining order hearing was just the beginning. "Mr. Sullivan." Judge Michaels nodded to me. "You may approach." I walked forward, the tapping of my cane echoing in the quiet courtroom. "Your Honor, we have video evidence of Miss Wallace threatening my client and attempting to assault him in his home," my attorney Patricia stated. The courtroom screen displayed the clear footage. Melissa's face reddened as her threats played for everyone to hear. "Miss Wallace," Judge Michaels said sternly after the video ended, "do you deny these actions?" "I was provoked," Melissa insisted. "He's been systematically trying to destroy my life." "By which you mean reporting suspected financial fraud to the proper authorities? That's called being a good citizen," Patricia countered. "Restraining order granted," Judge Michaels declared after brief deliberation. "Miss Wallace, you are to remain at least 500 feet from Mr. Sullivan at all times." Outside the courtroom, Jake clapped my shoulder. "One down." "The SEC hearing is next week," Diana added, joining us. "They've upgraded their investigation based on the additional evidence." "What evidence?" Melissa demanded, approaching despite her attorney trying to hold her back. "The evidence you left on company servers," Diana smiled thinly. "Emails discussing how to hide funds, transfer documents with your signature, very thorough paper trail." "You're still 500 feet too close," I reminded her. "This vendetta won't bring back what we had," Melissa said desperately. "We could still work something out, Ronan, for old time's sake." "There are no old times, just bad memories." Her face hardened. "You'll regret this." "Officer," I called to the nearby bailiff, "this woman is violating a restraining order issued literally minutes ago." 2 weeks later, I sat in my office watching the news report about Melissa's SEC indictment and criminal charges for assault and violating the restraining order. "You okay?" Sarah asked, bringing me coffee. "Better than okay. She called me, begged me to intercede with you." "And?" I told her exactly where she could go. Sarah sat across from me. "Do you ever wonder what would have happened if the accident hadn't occurred?" "Sometimes. But then I remember she was already seeing David 6 months before the crash." "How did you find that out?" "Old phone records. The betrayal was always coming. The accident just accelerated her timeline." Tanya knocked and entered. "Mr. Sullivan, your 4 o'clock is here." "Thanks, Tanya." After Sarah left, I welcomed Mrs. Henderson, a wheelchair user seeking representation in her disability discrimination case. "I read about your accident," she said, "how you rebuilt everything after losing it all." "It wasn't easy," I admitted. "Was it worth it? The fight back?" I thought about Melissa facing years in prison, about David ruined and disgraced, about my own successful practice helping others who'd been wronged. "Every step," I assured her, "even the painful ones." Later, Jake and I stood on my balcony watching the sunset, glasses of whiskey in hand. "To justice," he toasted. "Long overdue." "To new beginnings," I added. "You think she finally understands what she did to you?" I considered this. "I don't think it matters anymore. Her understanding doesn't change anything." "No forgiveness, then?" "Some things can't be forgiven, Jake. Some betrayals cut too deep. I looked out over the city I'd rebuilt my life in, but I'm not angry anymore. That's enough." "What now?" "Now?" I smiled. "We keep moving forward. Do you believe some betrayals are truly unforgivable, or is there always room for redemption? Share your thoughts in the comments and don't forget to like and subscribe for more stories of justice served.